Hello friends, how are you all? I hope you are doing great and taking care of yourself. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we are going to talk today about an important concept in SQL, and that is none other than functions in SQL. Have you ever wondered how you can basically manipulate the data or process the data like pro? And that's what in this video we are going to take a deeper dive in SQL functions, like what are they, how do they help us to basically process the data or manipulate data. All these exciting things we are going to learn in this today's video on SQL functions. So friends, let's quickly study from the theoretical perspective of what are these functions and what are different types of functions, and then we will be executing each of these functions in our practical session in next few minutes. So first, let's talk about what are functions in SQL. The functions in SQL allows users to perform operations on data. There are mainly two types of functions: scalar functions and the aggregate functions. But on the right hand side, you can see there are other functions also: string functions, date functions, and what each of these functions do and return the value to us, because the functions at the end of the day take an input and return the output to us. So the first function here is the scalar function. These functions operate on a single value and return a single value. So what are these? Upper, which converts the string to the uppercase. So it takes a string, has an input from you, and then converts that string into an uppercase. The second one is the lower. It takes a string, has an input from you, and converts that string into a lower case. The third one, scalar function, is len, which is nothing but a length. It takes the string, has an input, and then gives you output of the length of that string provided as an input. Now let's talk about the second function, which is aggregate function, and this is very useful function. So what are aggregate functions? These functions perform calculations on a set of values and return a single value. One important point to note here is you can use the aggregate functions with group by clause. As the name suggests, group means it's used to basically group the results. We will see that in our demo session. Don't worry. Let's first explore each of them aggregate function. The first one is sum. As the name suggests, it sums up the numeric values. Average calculates the average. Count calculates the number of records. The max finds the highest value. Min find the lowest value. And the last one is round. The round rounds the number to specify decimal places. We will see that in our demo session. Don't worry. The third function is the string function. As the name suggests, they are used to manipulate the string data types, and there are two string functions: concatenate and the substring. Concatenate, as the name suggests, it will help you to concatenate the two strings as one. Substring, as the name suggests, it helps you to basically extract certain strings from the input provided. So we will look that. So if say I want to fetch the value from position second to position 5, that's where I will use the substring and I will give string as an input to it. The last one is the date functions. As the name suggests, they are used to handle the date and time values, and in that we have two: get date and the date def. So in today's video we will be exploring more about the scalar functions and the aggregate functions. and in the part 2 of this video we will be exploring the string functions and the date functions. So I'm too excited to basically walk through the demo session on scalar functions and aggregate functions. I hope you too are excited to get yourself learn about these functions. So why getting delayed? Let's quickly get into a demo session. So friends, I'm going to use the online compiler to show you the demo of the scalar functions. So don't worry, I'm going to paste this link in the video description. So we are going to use select star from customers table. Okay, so on the left hand side we have three tables: customers, orders and shippings, but I'm going to use the customers. So if you see here, we have something called as a first name, the last name, the age, the country and the customer ID. Now to give you a demo of scalar function, I'm going to use the first name column. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use select first name comma, let's talk about the first scalar function, which is per from customers. Okay, I'm going to remove this first, run the SQL, and if you see, the first name has now converted into an upper. So the John, the J in the John was uppercase. Now the whole John word itself is converted to an uppercase. So that's how you can use the upper scalar function. Now if I want this to be lower, the whole string or the whole word John to be in an lowercase, so what I'm going to use is lower first name and run it, and you see the whole string or the word John is being converted to the lower case. Now I want to calculate the length of this string, so I'm going to use length first name. Okay, and run. Okay, and if you see, it has given us the length of that string. So the John word itself is 4 characters, the Robert is 6, David is 5, John is again 4, the Betty is 5. So that's how you can use the scalar functions as per your requirement to get and output what you are looking. If you're looking upper to convert the string, whole string into an uppercase, use upper. If you're looking whole string to be converted into lowercase, then use lower. And if you want to find out the length of the string, then use the length as one of your scalar functions. I hope you got an understanding as what we have learned theoretical perspective and now have executed in the demo session. Now let's quickly get to our second function, which is the aggregate function. So friends, to demonstrate the group by functions or the aggregate functions, I'm going to basically use the customer table, which is similar which we use for the scalar functions demo. So now let's execute this table. And if you see, we get customer ID, first name, last name, age, and country. Now let's use the magic clause call has group by clause, and I'm going to use here count country, okay, comma country, and here group by country, and let's execute this. So if you see, and let me do here select star from customers. Okay, so you get what I'm talking about. So if you see, for UAE we have got count as 1 because there is only one person called as Betty in UAE, but for UK and USA you see the count is 2. So there are two individuals David and John in UK and John and Robert in USA. So it has given us a count 2. Now let's move to our next group by function called as sum. And to demo that, I'm going to use the age column. So I'm going to write here sum, country, and age, and here age. Okay, now let's execute that. And if you see, it has done the sum because we have grouped by the country. So John and Robert both are in USA. The John age is 31 and the Robert age is 22. So it has displayed us 53. Similarly, the David and John, one is of 22 and the other is of 25. So it has done the sum 47. And for UAE there was only one person, Betty, so it just gave us 28. Now let's talk about the average function. Okay, and when I execute that, it gives me the average 23.5 and 26.5 for UK and USA. For UAE it is the same 28. Remember we talked about rounding of the decimals. So I'm going to use the round function here, but since it is one digit only, I'm going to use here 0, and I'm going to execute this and see the magic. What has happened? The 0.5 has been got to the next whole number and it has given us 24 instead of 23.5. To demo that, I'm going to again use here average, okay, so that you can compare. So 23.5 has become 24 and 26.5 has now become 27. So it has round off 0.5 to the next available whole number. Now let's use max and mean to understand what is the max age, and I'm going to use here min age. Okay, so when I execute this, you see we have got the max age in UAE is 28 because there is only one person or an individual, Betty. But for UK and UAE, for the UK we got 25 because David is 22, John is 25. So it gave us the max. And for USA we have got 31 because the John age is 31, Robert age is 22. Now when we talk about the min for the UAE remains 28, but for UK and USA we got as 22 because the Robert is 22, David is 22, but John in USA is 31 and in UK is 25. So it gave us the min age of between the two people. I hope you got an understanding of what I have been demoing it about the aggregate functions and the scalars functions. If you find this was really a helpful session or a video, do share with your friends and do not forget to hit the like button and the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload the next part 2 of string functions and date functions in my functions in SQL video session. Until then, take care. Bye bye.